What's going on, everyone? Welcome to a special episode of Fantasy Factor. I'm Matt Gagnon alongside Mike Legage and a very special guest today, MCTV's own Sean McAvoy. How are we, Sean?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good. Not in fantasy football right now, as my team's a lackluster 3-5. But other than that, everything's going well, especially since I was able to at least beat Mike.
Of course, had to include that. What? I did not fix that.
Mike.
Yeah, Mike didn't do his script.
Yeah, I didn't see that part. All right, here.
We can just start over.
Can you scroll back up to that? Just a sec. No, wait, go down a little bit. I gotta think of something.
A little more.
A little more, please.
Just to the part where it says Mike.
Talk briefly about how Sean beat you.
I didn't put that there. I'm just saying that. It was.
I thought you would see that and edit it to not include that.
Of course. I did.
Would you like to edit that? Really
Yeah.
Let me stop recording.
No, this will be good for the blooper reel.
Okay.
About how unprepared we were for week 9's episode.
No.
I
Mike.
didn't even see. I went through the script. You must have added it after
know,
I was
I know.
in there.
I did not add it in after you were there. I did not touch the script since 9 a.m.
Sean must have put that in there. Definitely did.
I put that in there.
Yeah.
I put it in
Okay,
there
so
in
only you did.
parentheses, and you just glossed over it, I
I
think.
guess so.
That's the whole reason why I even mentioned beating you, because I saw that in there and I was like, oh,
All
he's
right.
about to go into it.
Okay. I get it.
Hey, what's your record?
4-4.
Yeah, so at least he's still beating me, so I
I was
can't
gonna
talk
say,
too much.
yeah, what? You're 3
Luckily,
and
I can
5.
only talk shit to him.
There is
And
2
hopefully
people.
you after this week.
Yeah, there is 2 people in this entire league that are over 500. That's bonkers to me. 2, that's it. The rest are 500 or under.
That's fucking crazy. I'm in a league where
In
everyone...
a 10-man league.
I'm in one league where every single person is 3-5 or 4-4, except for me, who's 7-1. I'm
Nice.
actually good in that one. The only downside is I'm not good in most others.
Oh.
Well, Sean, we can talk more about that when you don't have a losing record.
Okay.
Well,
I'm
Sean.
fine with that. You can talk
Well,
some
Sean,
trash.
And
you're
then Matt says, "Indeed, Mike."
Indeed, Mike.
All right, that's cool.
Well, Sean, it's because you're a loser. Starts crying on the mic. Mike breaks down.
Okay.
Sean.
Okay. All right, we're set now. Thank you.
Sean beat me.
Sure.
Yeah.
Also, we're going to do next week those chairs, I think. The black chair
Yeah,
with
with,
no
Ooh.
table.
with the 2 of us.
Okay.
Yeah, that was an idea, but I figured since there's 3 people today,
That would make more
Definitely
sense.
wouldn't have been the time to do
Just
it.
have Sean.
the
Sean's
high
back.
chairs,
Sean's
you guys
back
are
to
in
the
the-
camera.
Sean's sitting next to Mike on a long couch, and there's just me on the other side.
We bring in a love seat in sectional.
Bob's discount. All right. Good God.
Yeah, we're good.
No, but yeah.
3, 2.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to a special episode of Fantasy Factor. I'm Matt Gagnon alongside Mike Legage and a very special guest today, MCTV's own Sean McAvoy. How are you, Sean?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good. Not in fantasy football right now, as my team's a lackluster 3-5. But other than that, everything's going well, especially since I was able to at least beat Mike.
Oh. Well, Sean, we can talk more about that when you don't have a losing record.
Indeed, Mike. A very important matchup this week. Most of the teams in our league, shockingly, are at or under a 500 record. In fact, only 2 teams out of the 10 in our league have a record above 500. And this game between Sean and I this week could boost me up over 500 or bring him to that threshold of 500.
So why don't you guys give us your predictions for the matchup? Matt, you go ahead, and we'll save our wonderful guest the opportunity to have the last word.
Well, Sean, I won't lie to you. I'm a little nervous for this week. Mike Evans and TJ Hawkinson both have byes this week, which forced me to have to pick up Evan Ingram of the Giants off the waiver wire. To add insult to injury, Aaron Rodgers is my quarterback, and if you haven't heard of that fiasco, he's out for this week at least because he tested positive for COVID and didn't get the vaccine. So we'll see what happens injury-wise. Hopefully the other stars of my team can stay strong and get me some solid points. We'll see. It should be a fun matchup. I really want to talk some trash, but I don't know, man.
Well, at this point, I don't know if this matchup will be more of who wins or who has less of their team out and injured. Like you, Matt, my team also has a lot of injuries this year, and players have not consistently been in my lineup. For instance, I have Kareem Hunt out, along with Gronk, Antonio Brown, and Michael Thomas. But to add on to that, Calvin Ridley's just stepping away for football for Who knows how long because of mental health reasons, which at least is fair, just stinks that my second-round pick is gone. At least I still have a few reliable stars like Kamara and Justin Jefferson to hopefully carry me to a win.
And now, guys, we're going to transition into a new segment called How Are the Rookies Doing So Far? If the title of the segment didn't give it away, we're going to look at a few of the highest acclaimed prospects of the 2021 NFL Draft and grade how they're doing midway through the season on their new teams. First off, let's start with the most hyped prospects of the last 6 years. This guy's been on NFL Network since high school, and he's finally on the new NFL team. What's your take on Trevor Lawrence of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Mike?
Well, statistically, Lawrence is not off to a great start on the season. He is completing less than 60% of his passes and has only thrown 8 touchdowns compared to 9 interceptions. Of course, we understand that his circumstances are less than ideal, and unfortunately are having a large impact on his season. We won't go into too much detail since we are a family-friendly show, but let's just say that head coach Urban Meyer's off-field exploits are not helping the already struggling Jaguars get any better. I believe for Lawrence to find any success in Jacksonville, the Jags need to first build an offensive line capable of protecting him, and secondly, need to find a head coach whose number one priority is winning football games. And so now I pass it on to you, Sean.
Well, see, I don't really blame a huge amount on Lawrence because, as you said, I do believe that, like a lot of other rookie quarterbacks, he isn't going to play as well as he did in college. And the Jaguars were so terrible last year. What did people expect? Like, yes, they're adding a great quarterback in Lawrence, but they need time for him and the rest of the team to grow up and develop. And unlike Urban Meyer saying that every week they're playing Alabama, they need a better coach. Matt?
Honestly, I think this guy has the talent to be a great quarterback, like you guys say, but I can't say I'm not a little surprised by his performance this season, I guess. Granted, he's playing for a pretty weak Jacksonville Jaguars team, but his individual stats are not great at all, like you said, Mike. Hopefully it's just a learning king, because I'd like to see the guy succeed. I'm kind of a Clemson fan, I guess. I just don't know if Duvall is going to allow him to be the best star that he has the potential to be. Then again, I thought the same thing with Cincinnati, and Joe Burrow is doing remarkably well in his sophomore season. I just think giving the guy a bit more time to adjust to the NFL style of play, along with giving his general manager time to draft and trade for some more receiving threats maybe, Trevor Lawrence has the potential to be a top 5 quarterback in the league eventually. That being said, I guess I'll be the only one that grades his performance with this one is a C-. Next one, let's go to Zach Wilson, the 2nd overall pick to the Jets from BYU. Sean, how about you go first?
Zach Wilson is definitely not Trevor Lawrence. Not only is he unfortunately on the Jets, but he has downright had hardly any good games or anything well to speak of. Typically, you hear people talk about touchdown-interception ratios, but with Wilson, it would be completely negative, as he has 9 picks and only 4 touchdowns. On top of that, Mike White and Josh Johnson have been playing significantly better, as they both have had good games in the past 2 weeks.
So fair to say that a quarterback who is already being dubbed Mr. Interception is not off to a great NFL start. Quite frankly, Wilson should not have been a top 2 pick in the draft. It's arguably showing that he may not have even deserved to be a first-round pick. Obviously, it is way too early to start pulling the bust card, but he will need to show noticeable improvement in the following years to shake the Mr. Interception nickname. He's only completing 57.5% of his passes and has thrown 9 interceptions to 4 touchdowns, as Sean mentioned. His backup, Mike White, has arguably proven to be better after throwing 5 touchdowns compared to 4 interceptions in Wilson's absence.
Personally, I never understood the hype around Zach Wilson either. He had one undoubtedly great season with BYU, but there was never anything super special before that one great season. That being said, the poor guy was drafted to the New York Jets, which is just the worst place that a draftee can go to. Before his injury earlier this season, he had an abysmal 63.5 passer rating and had half the touchdowns compared to interceptions, 4-9, like we said. Maybe he wasn't ready for NFL football, but I'm sorry, I'm giving you a D grade, Zach Wilson.
All right, so now we move on to Mac Jones. As the non-Patriots fan on the show, I'll provide an unbiased take on Jones. Yes, he's looked great so far, completing nearly 70% of his passes, which is very good, especially for a rookie. However, he's only averaging 7.1 yards per attempt, which means that most of the time he's only throwing the ball 7 yards. This ranks him 22nd in this category, which is certainly on the lower end. Jones is obviously benefiting from having the greatest coach in offensive scheme of all time, where he can manage to throw the check down route every time and somehow still win games. But with that being said, I'll swing it to you, Matt.
I gotta say, I love Mac Jones so far. He's got the swagger, the composure, and the attitude the Patriots want and the fans love, but he's also got some talent. He's a clear leader already. I mean, he already has the attitude when they win, and when they lose, he's got the right attitude. Mac's stats might not be perfect, but for a rookie, I'd say the 90.1 passer rating is pretty darn good. Hopefully he can go up from here and become another star quarterback for my favorite New England Patriots someday, but I guess we'll see. I'd say B+ for now.
I'll play a little devil's advocate on this one. Mac Jones has definitely been the best quarterback so far out of the draft class, but is that a huge accomplishment? The others have not played nearly as well as anticipated, and Mac Jones has 9 touchdowns right now to 7 total turnovers, including 6 picks. I do respect he's a rookie and think that he has played well as a game manager. I just feel like I haven't seen Mac Jones win us any games himself, doing anything big. It's typically been a tough run game and sharp defense that's won it. I do think he will be a great future quarterback for us, though.
All right, guys, for our last segment, let's just quickly name a team that surprised us this season so far. Let's hear yours, Mike.
So my surprise team is the Oakland Raiders. Ignoring the off-field issues, the Raiders are sitting atop the AFC West with a record of 5-2, ahead of both the Chargers and the Chiefs. Derek Carr has looked very good this year, and today has thrown for over 2,000 yards, along with 12 touchdowns and only 5 interceptions. They've beaten two pretty good teams in the Ravens and the Steelers, and look poised to at least be in the playoff hunt at the end of the season if they continue to take care of business against the bad teams.
I'd go with the Dolphins as my surprising team this season so far. Compared to last year when they hardly missed out on the playoffs by like a game, they now sit at 1-7. They're already basically done for the year and have no chance, which is what has really surprised me since it seemed like they were really going to improve after last year.
I gotta say, I think mine is the Cincinnati Bengals. Burrow comes back from an ACL tear, now joined by former teammate at LSU, Jamar Chase, who is an absolute stud this year, and they start tearing it up out there. They're second in AFC North with a 5-3 record. By no means are they perfect, I'll add. They lost to the Jets. But they also beat the Ravens and Steelers and almost the Green Bay Packers. I believe they lost in overtime. Needless to say, they're an exciting team that surprised me with how much they've improved in a single season. We'll see if they can keep it up for the next several years.
All right, everyone, that's about all we have for you on this week's episode of Fantasy Factor. Make sure to tune in next week to hear the results of Matt and Sean's matchup. Thank you once again for tuning in to Fantasy Factor.